In a post-truth reality, who will save the world, uncover the mysteries of the universe and build a vast multimedia empire to rival the likes of Genghis Khan? Join these two Aussie meat robots as they thrash out the weird and wonderful, the classified and supernatural, as well as their own inconceivable adventures on the podcast you had to have and never thought you needed. It's time for Hidden in Plain Sight.
So glad we're back from the ad break. I was getting scared being down here by myself. I actually kept looking over at the rocking chair. The moment that you said the front room, something shifted for you. I could see it shifted in you, but definitely in this space as well. And we have plenty of those moments.
Oh, yeah?
The other yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's something you can sense. It's like, oh, it's there. And I wonder what that is because, I mean, I guess if you have to talk about some of these things, if you go to the lore of ghosts, if there's a male energy sucking on your female energy or, you, what do they call that? It's an incubus, isn't it? That's that incubus energy.
Yeah.
Incubus, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, from what I've read about stuff, it's that they draw on energy to get more powerful themselves. So it's an energy thing for me. I believe it's not an individual sitting there. It's an energy. Yeah, it's an energy thing. So, and it could just be that, my brothers don't have such open energy.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. So I had an experience I'll tell you guys about. I might even send a photo and cut it in here. I got a place here where I go to kind of meditate and just hang out. I feel like it's energy. I call it a little biodome.
Yeah.
Just down the way from me. And it's just still a place. Every time I walk into it, I just feel like the best way to describe it is the laws of the universe slightly shift. So I feel like it's a place that I can just kind of do my stuff and my energy feels good there. And on Monday, I was away for the weekend. And on Monday, I went to walk down very close to it. And as I got close, the feeling was a bit weird. And on the ground, there was a massive 7-pointed star had been drawn. When I say massive, it was probably about 3 meter diameter. It was drawn in white chalk. If it was pagan related, you would have the 7-pointed star is related to the natural energies. So the water, fire, earth, that stuff. And you have those symbols. But in place of those symbols were some symbols, different iconography. And as I was getting close to it, about 1 meter away, I just went, whoa. And I felt immediately, it felt like part of the right side of my body was being pulled into this circle. And the rest of my body started to feel off kilter. And I was like, this is fucking weird. And as I got close to it, what I noticed first was how perfect the circle was. So it's not like they missed a circle that big with another circle inside it, 7-pointed star. You'd think somewhere someone would have messed up a line or gone a bit skew. It was just like perfect. And I was looking at it going, wow, I'm feeling really odd. Step back about 1 meter away and it would kind of dissipate. So I went a bit further down, only 5-6 meters away was my place, and I did my stuff and it was all good. As I'm asking myself the question, as I always do, I try to be, I try to balance a believer with a non-believer all the time to question that. And I said, okay, did I see that symbol and it triggered something in my mind and my system of prejudice and belief that made me react that way? At that moment, I get an answer from the universe. I turn around. There's 2 people coming with 2 dogs, man and a woman, 2 German Shepherds. One German Shepherd is what I'd call normal, healthy German Shepherd. The other one obviously had a problem with its back legs, and it was on one of those little wheel. They use dogs, they put them on those wheelie carts, and they use their front legs.
Yeah.
So I could see them coming from about 30, 40 meters away. So the dog that was healthy was running ahead of them and running back to them, and the other dog was walking between the 2 of them. So when it first came running towards me, it's quite a narrow path. It got close to the circle and stopped, looked at it, turned around and ran back to them, came back again, stopped at the circle, went around the circle and went back and ran back to them. And then it came up again, went around the outside of the circle and continued forward. As they were getting really close to the circle, the dog in the middle of the 2 got behind them, went around the outside and went back to the center of the path on the other side of the circle. The 2 people just walked straight through it. And I watched it, and I actually took a short video of this, and I was like, wow, that was really interesting. And I thought, I'll hang around for a bit and see what happens on the way back. Exactly the same thing happened. Dogs being dogs, just at the moment they get to that one place, neither dog, so they were about a meter away where I was feeling it. They circumvented this shape and went forward.
Okay.
And it was such an interesting...
Well, the question I want to ask here now, Josh, is do you often stand in public places videoing couples walking with their dogs? And the second question after that, are you the Zodiac killer? Are you real? Is that your true identity?
And you want to watch this
reincarnate? Actually, it's funny you say that. One of the symbols on the square was the circle with the X through it, which was the zodiac sign.
Well, it's funny because...
But no, actually, I really did think about the video because I was like, this is super odd.
And that was
I was like, I want to document it.
And I know that you can draw circles pretty well. Okay, so we know the place of the murders. Yeah, look, I've been to that... what would you call it? It's a peninsula inside a river. It's kind of like a...
Pretty much.
Yeah, and I've walked that spot, and it is like you say, it's a biodome. It's sort of in between one side of a river and another side of the river, and it's like, yeah, it's you walk past
special
a
energy
place, and then everything shifts around, and it's I've seen the video that you sent me. I want to mention this because I'm now living in this particular house, and before we got this place, we went to inspections at other places around the mountains, and some of the places you go into are very average, very normal. Some are really sad and decrepit. You know, it shocks you what real estate agents will show. But there's one particular place that I went in with my son and my daughter Grace and Patrick. We walked into, and immediately there was a strange vibe in there. But there was a room right at the front, and yeah, it was just weird. And both of my kids walked out at the same time, came to me and went, no, not this house, not this house. There's something really strange in there, because they're quite switched on to this kind of stuff. Anyway, I took a video. I went into the room, and it was like I walked into this like membrane going into the room of just sadness. It was like a very sad, very, very sad room. I felt the energy was probably more childlike in a way, like young child, but there was just something very weird and very odd that happened in that room. And you could feel it from in the corridor looking down, but walking into the room, I was like, nah, I can feel it. It was bizarre. I've kept the video. I don't know if I'll show it here, but I'm not sure if it's my place to show it, but it certainly was experience to have.
It's funny you say my place, because when I saw the circle, part of me was like, I'm going to break this circle because I can feel this. But then another part of me went, no, don't mess with it. It's not your fight. Like, this is not your thing. Just don't mess. But that's interesting, that conversation. And what we've conversed about many a time is that idea that if something is around us, obviously there's clearly energy around us that we don't see. We're talking through airwaves right now that are not, physically connected.
Visible.
Our voice is moving in front of our face and we don't see it. And we've got a lot of these things that we encounter. Certain types of people or certain, will have experiences and others won't. Yeah. But the big thing that we talk a lot about is energy and manifest energy. So in order for these things to be around, they're like us, clearly connecting to energy, physical and metaphysical. And that's an interesting thing. So that just the symbol being where it was in a place that I consider quite vibrational, we've got indigenous systems of maps of what we might call power all over the world. We've got these ancient maps that aren't just here's borderlines of countries. These are points on the earth where there is, energetical places, some bigger than others.
This is where Josh starts talking about Madol, and don't worry.
Madol.
Oh, don't get him started.
I try to lead every podcast.
No.
Is that beef or chicken?
Oh, it's just, no. It's an island made out of rocks. We tried to do an episode on it, but we did it like 3 times and it was just bombed.
That sounds really exciting.
Yeah, it's like basically an island made out of rocks that no one knows how to make. Yeah, like rocks. Yeah, great. Big
although I did geology,
hexagonal basic boulders.
Yeah, I'll start. He's trying to goad me into it.
He's going.
Don't diss basalt, because the whole Blue Mountains.
Goading me into it.
Blue Mountains is basalt cap residuals, right? So when you have the Earth is like doing its magma and things, it comes up, it sits out and creates these basalt cap residuals that sits over the top and prevents the washing away of sandstone underneath. The basalt itself has this magnetic raw, so these things happen. That's why Blue Mountains is a
now you're starting on Nan Madol. Jesus. Susie, you and Josh should take a holiday to Nan Madol, do a special episode. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Hexagonal basalt, cobalt.
But it's very pagan.
What? Oh, now. Yeah, okay.
It's very pagan because you got that ancient knowledge of water working with earth elements and all of that stuff. But now, Susie, I'm interested. So we talked about your house.
Yeah.
Would you consider your experiences more centralized to the house, or are you someone who's had experiences more broadly around the joint?
I've had so many experiences. No, I've had a few.
Let's just keep it to paranormal right now.
Oh,
paranormal.
Okay, all right. I was going to say. When I was
that
10,
rocking chair really started moving then.
Show me on the doll where the man touched you.
Yeah.
No, so sorry.
Some heavy breathing. What?
Wait 2 seconds.
What's that ghost doing?
Bye, Sean.
Oh no.
Come on, push the rocking chair. Push it. You know what?
It's John Jarrett.
He needs to put a doll or something in that rocking
Careful
chair.
of the asbestos.
Yeah. Who's that behind you, Sean? What is that? What is that?
Jesus.
It's creepy.
It's an Indonesian wanking claw.
Hang on.
It doesn't look very flexible. What is that?
Don't need it to be.
It's my back scratcher.
Oh, that is so creepy.
Yeah, it's so creepy. I just thought it was just...
That's...
Anyway, tell us about your experiences.
Experiences, yes, to do with paranormal. Yes, I've had a few ones that I've gone and actually actively sought out, and ones that have just happened naturally, occurrences. I've done a lot of the quarantine station at Sydney there at North End.
I've been there. Yep.
Yeah,
classic.
I've done a couple of ghost hunts. I've done ones where you've gone in with actual ghost hunting team with paranormal ghost hunting gear. So you've got your spirit box and your dowsing rods and all that kind of stuff, which is absolutely amazing. I've just done the normal tours, and then I've done the tour where you go in and you've got two people who, one spent the whole night trying to convince us that he actually was a werewolf, until I pointed out that he had some silver around his neck, but that ruined the whole experience for him. But
there is that, isn't there?
Hey, the kids thought it was great. And then I've done the one at the Rocks, which was really quite rubbish. I always wanted to go to Monte Cristo, but unfortunately that's now in the hands of a private resident.
Cristo?
I don't know if you know Monte Cristo. Okay,
about?
so Monte Cristo is a house in Junee, which is just outside Wagga.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it is known as the most haunted place in Australia. Yeah. So it's a beautiful 2-story. I've actually got photos where I've gone up in, it's close to the public now. And I've gone up through the fence, and I'm taking photos through the fence and trying to get through while my uncle's going, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you?" And I was like, "You don't understand. It's Monte Cristo." But it's a 2-story house. It's a beautiful house. I'm sure you'll be able to put pictures and things up and links if people want to look at it. But it's steeped in tragedy. They've got a beautiful stone steps that go up to the front door, but there's still a stain on it from when a girl fell from the top floor and died. There's a stable where a stable boy was burnt to death. There's all sorts of things that happen. But anyway, so
luck.
I set my holidays around places that are like that. I don't go and go sit on a beach. I go looking for these things.
Yeah. Sure.
North Head's pretty famous. Did anything
heaps of stuff happen at North Head.
Are we talking seeing, feeling, any apparitional type vibes?
A couple of times I've gone with 2 different people, and I went with the father of my son, and he went, and his background is Romany Gypsy. So he's come from a travelling circus of psychics from going, back many a year. And we just went for fun because it's just something to do on a Friday night. And I don't know if you're familiar with North Head, but it's the quarantine station. It was originally set up for when people came into Sydney. You'd go to the quarantine station there. It was riddled with smallpox and all that kind of dysentery and all that kind of thing. So a lot of people died there. There's a real air of sadness around it. But you go on a tour and you're taken to there's a place where they, disinfect the clothes, a place that they have the Asiatic where the people from Asia would live. There's the places where they dine and the kitchen and things. We were in the kitchen underneath the dining hall, and I was standing with, we'll just call him John for the purpose of the podcast. I was standing with John and
Jarrett.
John Jarrett. I was with John Jarrett, and he started, the person was going through the whole, like, this is where they'd make the bread and this is where this was happening. And John started pulling at his neck and going, I can't breathe.
Oh,
and me
Jesus.
being like super, super sympathetic girlfriend, I was like, can you stop it? You're embarrassing me. Like, people can hear you. And he's like, I'm choking. I'm like, well, just go outside for God's sake. Like, just for the love of God. Anyway, so that stopped and we moved on to the next place, and I didn't feel anything, didn't see anything. It was just like a really nice vibey thing. And at the end of the tour, they're like, let's go and wait, have a cup of tea and we can all stand around. And we're standing there, and the tour guide was going around to everybody saying, like, did you enjoy it? Would you recommend it? Did you feel anything? And he came up to us and he said, I kind of noticed that you had a bit of a reaction there in the kitchen. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, yeah. He always makes things about him. And he's like, well, may I ask what it was that you experienced? And John was saying, well, when you're in there, I felt like I was being choked. I could see a little girl. And he goes, well, can you describe the girl to me?
Oh,
and John's like, she was about this tall. She looked like this. She was wearing this, this, and this. I'm not going to give you the details, and I'll tell you why. Because the guy said, okay, well, that's our resident ghost. We don't actually publicise her because we want people to experience. And if we write on the website, this ghost is this and she does this like this, then people are going to go there going,
oh, I had that happen.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go in and tell details. If people are listening to this and want to go and experience themselves, you may just experience this.
Wow.
And the guy said, actually, we find she's a resident ghost, and we find that she goes around and she looks for her parents, her mother predominantly. She tends to hang around females, and she either tries to hold their hands, or I'm actually getting really funny tingles about this because I remember this really clearly. They either try to hold the women's hands, or they try and attack men who aren't very good for the person they're with. Should have listened. Should have listened. There's a reason.
And you're just standing there going, can we go for ice cream now? Yeah.
Go on.
Hey,
hurry up.
So we had that. That was years and years. This is like going back 20 years ago. And then I went back a few years later with a friend who was all interested in this kind of stuff but never had an experience. And I went with my brother and his wife, and we went into the grave digger's cottage. And they were talking about there's a guy that lives there.
There's so many graves being dug. They had their own grave digger's cottage. That's awesome.
Well, if you go there, they've actually like a grassy knoll, and it got to the point where they were just dumping people in this grassy knoll. And what they didn't realise was the drinking water was going through that down to the drinking water, and they were just recycling dysentery and smallpox.
Oh, wow.
And, it was just circulating and percolating.
That's amazing, isn't it?
I went with my friend and we walked in there, and my friend was one of those full-on English women that would fight you in a bar fight and win short, but she was a scrappy wee lad.
Rocket.
Yeah, pretty much. 33 to turd. And she walked into a room and physically recoiled and ran out of the house, and was hyperventilating and crying. And she goes, I'm not going in there. And I'm like, you need to calm down. Again, you're embarrassing me. Because it's all about me.
Go to Susie and get fucking yelled at.
Yeah, well, exactly right. I'm not sympathetic. If it's not happening to me, it's not fair. Why is it these people not me? Anyway, so the tour guide came out and said, are you okay? And calmed down. And she said, he came up to me and he pushed me out of that room. And he goes, well, he does that too. So there's a lot of things. I've done the bit where there used to be an Australian ghost show called Scream Test. I don't know if you remember that. All back in like mid-90s, late 90s, Scream Test, where they'd put these people in these haunted places in a room.
Yes.
And, and they'd turn the lights off.
That was a big recognition from Josh then. All right.
I remember that.
Yeah. So they went.
That's where I first heard about North Head.
Yeah. So they have a shower block, which is the most creepy as fuck place I've ever been in my life. And it is just row after row of showers where you'd step in one side, take your diseased clothes off, have a shower. They'd put whatever, caustic powder on you. You'd step out the other side and get fresh clothes, and out you'd go. So they'd burn your clothes, and they'd had this system. And apparently someone used to go in there and do all sorts of nasty shit. But it is the creepiest room. And they said, does anyone want to walk around it by themselves in the dark? I went, I'll do it. Oh. So they put me in. I am never going in that place ever again. Never, ever.
God.
It's the creepiest place I've ever been to in my entire life.
Was the water warm though?
I didn't disrobe. That was later. That was the extra bit after the tour that they got me kicked out for. But
you didn't get authentic. You should have burnt your clothes, had a shower,
having myself up.
just come out fucking. Yeah, I didn't see anything, but I feel tingly.
What happened, Susie? Susie, what happened?
Oh, in the dark, Suze.
Nothing happened, but it was just a feeling of there was something sitting on top of it watching you, like a really heavy feeling. But the times I went with the ghost, and I do recommend if anyone's interested in this stuff, to go with the ghost hunters that do it, because the equipment they use is very expensive. So unless you want to invest in it and do it yourself, go with these people, because they'll lock you in a room with the spirit box and you ask questions and you get intelligent responses.
Okay, so talk us through the technology. When you say ghost hunters, like obviously I've seen Ghostbusters and movies and stuff and bits and pieces of TV. So what are they going in with, like a ghost box or a?
It's called a spirit box. What it does, it just runs through frequency constantly. Right. And the thing is, you ask questions to not things like, are you there?
Yeah.
You want intelligent responses. You drill down to very specific questions.
Right.
And it will say a word. It will grab the spirit's meant to use the energy that's in these frequencies to manifest a word, and it will come up and it will print the word, or it will say the word.
Say the word out loud, and is it a human voice or like a garbled
what it does,
voice?
it's funny.
What does it sound like?
No, it's a different voice every time. So it's grabbing words out of the radio. So you'll hear a female voice say one word, then you ask another question. It could be man's voice. So it's grabbing these words out of the frequency. And this is how this particular spirit box works. So I was in that room with my friend and my brother and my sister-in-law, and this was in the nurses' quarter, which they hadn't opened up to general public very often, but we were in there and we were in a bedroom, and we sat down on the ground and we turned it on and we were just asking questions. We weren't getting anything. And so we got to the end of it like, oh, bugger, we'll just ask the last few questions. And I said, how many in the room? How many in the room are there? And it said 5. And my brother's wife said, I'm out, I'm gone. And so she linked it. And then then another voice went, 4. And so and we're like, okay. And we're like, are you in the room with us now? Yes. And so it was actually answering intelligent answers to the questions you were asking.
It's interesting that you've got you've got these spirit boxes, digital based stuff, which is scanning digitally across frequency spectrums. And then they're obviously using the magnetic field detection stuff as well.
Yeah. They use the EMF.
Thermometers they'd probably be using.
Thermometers, for hotspots. So we're using voice recordings where, say, for you and I having a conversation, then they'd play it back and you would hear a voice that wasn't in the conversation we were having. EVPs. Dowsing rods. So we're using dowsing rods. The old.
Isn't that interesting? They're still using the old, because Sean had someone go through his place using dowsing rods to suss out the energy many moons ago.
Well, the ley lines and things.
Are they still using, because I know, in the olden days it was like analog stuff. Are they still using kind of tape dictaphones, or is it all digital?
No, digital. Yeah, I'll try and find, because they actually recorded a lot of stuff that we did on their Facebook page. I'll see if I can go through, because this is years ago.
Nice.
If I can dig it up, because they put the recordings up for us. But they sat us down and at the beginning of the night, and like, this is how you use this machine. This is how you use this machine. And of course, they'd had one of each. So you sort of circulated the machines throughout the night. But we had these paranormal investigator people, and we also had a psychic was in that, came along to help out. And we're sitting there going through things, and my friends and I were dicking around with the dowsing rods, like, ooh, like you do when you're 15 or whatever. But we weren't. We were in our 30s. And the psychic came up to me and goes, oh, if I had any information, would you be opening to hearing any information? I was like, well, yeah. And he's like, okay, there's a little girl here. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, but you know her, don't you? And I'm like, well, yeah, I've been here before. I've had an experience. He goes, yeah. Yeah, she's holding your hand. She likes you. She's going to follow you around for the rest of the night. Are you okay with that? Or do you want me to tell her to leave? I'm like, no, that's cool. I'm cool with it. Like, that's not a problem. Yeah. So that was really nice. But then they took us into the post office room. They had like its own post office. And that was just a whole, okay, guys, it's a bit of housekeeping. If there's a fire, we meet here and all that kind of crap that they go through at the beginning. And I just, all of a sudden, I went really hot and I went really fuzzy, like I was going to pass out. And I was just like, I can't be in here. I turned to my brother and said, I've just got to go out. I've got to get some air. He's like, you're right. I said, yeah, no, I just feel really faint. And I came out. As soon as I came outside, I was like, okay, maybe I had low blood sugar. Maybe it was just the room was too warm. Who knows? I just couldn't be in that room. So then a few other people had the same thing too. So they came out and we're all standing around on this balcony. And up above us was a road because it's all on the side of a hill. And up above us was a road, and above that was this massive, beautiful two-story, like a federation house, which was the national parks that own that property use it as their office. And we're all standing around, and someone in the group goes, "Can you see that?" And there was like an orb of light, and it was going through the rooms.
Wow!
And then all of a sudden it was upstairs and it was going around. My brother's like, "No, that's just the alarm," and I'm like, "That's not the alarm. That's that." It was like it wasn't doing like a straight line from room. It was like going up and down and moving around. I'm like, no, that's even giving me that.
What kind of color are we talking?
Like a really bluey white.
Bluey white, yeah.
Bluey white,
classic. Yeah.
And it's
so thinking of this, another thing that just reminds me, just another story you told me not so long ago. So you've got we another theory is that places can hold an energy, like the ground itself magnifies, but also objects can attract an energy. And I know there was we had a discussion recently talking about the front room of your parents' house, or one of the rooms in your parents' house that a couch came from.
Oh no! I've got their couches. I've saged them. They're fine. Do you mean what happened to me sitting on the couch? Is that?
I thought you said maybe you'd had some experiences recently in your new house.
Right.
Yeah.
And you may have equated that to something after you moved the couches in.
There's like just weird. I mean, I've been on the phone to you, and you've heard male voices that I haven't heard.
Yeah, I heard that. Oh fuck that! I forgot about that. But you had a reaction. Yeah, Sean, Susie, and I.
Oh, hang on, Susie and you're right, Sean. You look a bit scared.
No, just a few things switched up in here.
It's funny. Hey, we've noticed on podcasts, Susie, when we hit certain topics or certain moments, I got the shivers as well when I remembered it. Yeah. And we've noticed things happen. Like Sean used to have a string of lights behind him.
They changed.
And we did a lot of stuff. It was red. And we did a lot of stuff together. And at certain moments, we'd both go, did you feel that? And the lights would go from red just to purple and then back to red.
Who knows?
It was really weird.
Who knows?
Okay.
Who knows?
But the thing we had with Susie was we were chatting on the phone, and I remember Susie had said something like, just normal chat, something like, I think I heard a noise, or I think I felt something, and I heard a male voice in the background, and I thought it may have been Susie's son or something, and I was like, and Susie didn't hear it, but I heard it on the phone. I heard a male voice say something, and I was like, and then she was like, fuck, I'm not going to sleep now. I'm completely creeped out.
Yeah, because I was by myself. My son wasn't home. Like there was
you said Tom had gone out. He was out in Manly or something.
And he was out, and it was me and the dog. And I was like, oh, great, that's it for sleeping for tonight.
Well, I just moved on from it because I was like, okay. But then I was like, fuck, I don't want to freak her out as long as there's literally no one standing behind the door.
But I was checking my Ring doorbell for a video to see if there was someone at the front door or something. I was. Yep. There was like a noise.
There was a noise, and you said something, and I heard a voice.
Yeah, and you're like, who's that? I'm like, who's what? Huh?
Yeah.
So there was a few things. I saged the couch because I thought just in case. But I've had an experience. This is going to sound. I have had an experience on a couch before.
Oh shit!
But
Here comes the hand.
I got Freddie Mercury protect me. I went to the UK a few years ago with my parents and my son, and we went to York. I don't know if you're familiar with York.
Yeah.
Okay. The War of the Roses, the House of York, and the House of the other ones.
Yeah. So it's a walled medieval city. Yeah. So it's still there. Mm-hmm. It's incredible, really great place. If you're ever interested in that kind of thing, you should go. we stayed in it was a fairly new apartment.
Lancaster. Sorry.
Yeah, nice. That's all right.
That's the other house. Anyway.
You've got Tourette's, specific Tourette's going on. We stayed it was a new unit above a Sainsbury's, so it wasn't like we're staying in an old place.
Sainsbury's.
A
Marks and Spencer.
No, we're not that quality.
No,
we're Povo.
Come on.
Sainsbury's.
All right.
And Tom and I had done the hop on, hop off bus as you do as tourists.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where my parents were doing something boring, but so we decided we'd go back to the unit for a bit to wait. Just put TV on, catch up with them later. And the configuration in the lounge room was a 2-seater there and a 2-seater there. Mm-hmm. And there's windows overlooking. And I was sitting on the 2-seater there and Tom was on the 2-seater there. Not just sitting and talking. And all of a sudden, the couch got pushed from behind. And I just looked at Tom and he went, what was that? I'm like, I don't know, but we're not hanging around to find out.
Like wall behind the couch? Is there a wall behind the couch or an open space?
There was like an open space into a kitchen area.
Wow.
And it just got shoved. And that was like middle of the day. But it was a new unit that had a really long hallway and the toilet at the end. And you'd wake up in the middle of the night to go to toilet and you'd walk out in the hallway and you go, fuck it.
Nah,
I'll just wet the bed if I have to. I'm not walking down that hallway to go to the toilet.
Isn't that's another interesting point, right? It doesn't have to be old. Like,
that's why I just think it's energy, whether it's an energy of the person, the energy of the house that was there before, energy of whatever. And and that's why everyone's like, oh, I don't believe in ghosts. I've never seen anything. It's like, well, yeah, but your energy's closed off. If you're more open to it, you're more the possibilities of seeing, feeling, hearing, whatever.
That ties back into what we started with and some of my preamble about the religious stuff or whatever. Like, is it the chicken or the egg? Like, I think you have to be open to something in order to experience it. But then you run into all of these other issues because I know people who I know people who are really closed off to that stuff, who've had experiences, but it's quite rare. And then you find people who are very, very open to it, who seem to have a lot of experiences. And if you're a skeptic, you might go, well, of course, it's part of your kind of ethos or religion. But it's difficult to kind of say either way. But I think Sean and I, oftentimes we tend to put, validity is maybe not the right word, but we concentrate more on the experiences where it's coming from someone who's had an experience when someone else is present. Because that's really interesting. Like, I've had a bunch of experiences on my own, which I can share. But when I've had experiences with somebody else present, there's that kind of like, yeah, right, strength in numbers vibe. But it opens up the idea of energy. Does that mean that our energy spheres combined witness something that didn't exist? Or is it that our energy spheres combined were able to witness something? There's all of these interesting.
Yeah.
And the other one I think is I tend to gravitate also towards experiences from people who are just that kind of, just way out there, like never considering anything like this. And then all of a sudden they come forward and go, oh yeah, one time, like a good mate of ours, we talked about this on one podcast briefly, good mate of ours, Daniel Castor, his dad, I remember his dad was what you call meat and potatoes, normal
Tony
dude,
Castor.
went to work.
Legend.
Tony Castor. Yeah. Great guy, but just normal as they came, lovely, soft, nice bloke, but a blokey bloke. Played footy, smoked ciggies, ate Cadbury's, drank VB. So, and he told us, never heard his wife was very esoteric. Danny's mum, Claire, was kind of into all of her kind of, all the tarot and all of that stuff. But Tony was the polar opposite. And Tony one night told us a story going through Yarramundi near Richmond. If you know Yarramundi, Susie, as you come down the foot of the mountains and you go, yeah. Tony tells us a story about coming down from the mountainside of Yarramundi over the bridge, and you come up around another bend and there's fields, there's farms on either side. And he came up around the bend, and in the sky he witnessed something the size of 2 or 3 football fields. Just this massive rectangle in the sky. And he's gone, the hell is that? And he's had the whole feeling and the whole shivers and everything else, and he just blocked it. This was years later. He told us this story because we're having a discussion about Jervis or Jarvis Bay, however people say it. because they'd spent a lot of time there as families. And I know that some people have had experiences there and all of this weird stuff. And we were talking about that. And we actually asked Tony, you've been going there since you were a kid. He's like, nah, I never felt anything like that. But then he looked a bit sheepish. And then he's gone, but not so, in the late 90s in Yarramundi, this happened. And we were all just like, holy fuck.
One of these days, I will tell you about some stuff that happened down South Jarvis Bay Way, and it's that's a strange spot as well. Heading down.
Yeah, it's very powerful. It's very powerful. But the interesting thing with Tony is that it's like he blurted that out, and there was a relief. Like it seemed like he'd never told anybody. And it was at a time where you weren't like, it's not like, because I said to him, did you check the airspace? Did you check if he's like, no. And he almost said he didn't want to talk about it. And I was like, wow. So you just hold on to this crazy ass story. Like, that's pretty epic. It's not just a little ball. You're talking a couple of football fields.
But I guess the question of the time would be, would you be doubting your own sanity at that point? Do you know, like, I think, the way that we talk about mental health right now, or the way that we talk about these kind of things, or people talk about their feelings, it just wasn't the case at a certain point. People didn't talk about things. I mean, my grandfather was in Tobruk and fought the Nazis there and, basically went missing in action for a while, blah, blah, blah. After the war, never spoke about it.
Just didn't talk about it.
Just didn't talk about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just
didn't, yeah.
You wouldn't, would you?
Just put it away.
It's trauma.
It's
trauma, isn't it?
It's trauma, but it's also like you don't want to accept this stuff. I mean, how many things have we filed away and just forgotten about until we started?
That's what I was about to say
as well. Like we just,
but even us, if that we're talking about this stuff, if you drive through Yarramundi and you see that, it's still going to be an element of trauma there. There's still going to be an element of, oh shit, what is this? So imagine that you just completely, that's so far out of your sphere, and you just see that happen, and you're like, that's one of the I guess that's one of the underlying theories of the whole why we don't have proof of aliens, why we don't have proof of ghosts, because the feeling is that the large majority of people wouldn't be able to handle it. It would be too traumatic. I don't know if don't know, because I don't have, most of the people I know would probably react differently, but.
We've got a couple of minutes left on this podcast, a few more minutes to go. Susie, just to finish up for the evening, or for this part of this session, just if we want to jump onto another one, we'd love to have you back on another episode of Hidden in Plain Sight. But what
can you afford me?
Well, what do you put it down? No, we can't. Definitely not. 100% no. But what would be your kind of like final thoughts on all the things you've talked about, all these experiences you've had, and I'm sure there's plenty more that you can share.
Yeah, look, I don't have a definite answer. I just feel like it's an energy thing, and I think if you're more open and more susceptible, there's so many things that your brain can tap into that we just don't use. And I just think it's I've gone to psychics. I've been to, if we had more time, I'd delve into the psychic that I went to that told me things so specific that you just there's no way you could Google it, look it up, know anything about it.
Just make it up.
No, but long story short, I had a friend's husband who passed away, and he was American. And every time I'd go over to their house, he would always give me a root beer, and I hated it. I never drank it. I'd put it down and go, thanks, and I'd put it down and walk away. I don't know why. He just thought that I liked it. And she was saying, I've got this young guy coming through and he's giving you a beer, but it's not beer. Does that make sense to you? Like really specific things like that. Now, that you can't make up. That you can't.
No.
That's so
you can't
specific.
find that on Facebook, can you?
There's a man and his initials has an A in it. It's, so down to the point that I personally believe that there's got to be something there, and I don't believe in the whole concept of heaven and hell and all that. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
Isn't it interesting? Even that we have witnessed these things, we're still saying we think. Isn't that funny?
Well,
we think it's out there.
I mean, I have conversations like you've met my dad, and my dad's not a woo kind of guy. Like this man is a man who studied law. He's a business orientated man.
The man of science.
Man of science. That shit is bullshit. And because he's just not into that kind of stuff. It's not his thing, But he's gone, one story he has is he went to Hobart for a work conference.
Oh, gee, don't get started on Tassie. Tassie is weird. Anyway, yeah.
Tassie's weird, and not just in the spiritual sense, just generally weird.
Oh.
And there goes Taz. Hang on.
And then the whole Tasmanian audience was lost.
Yep.
I'll start again. Tasmania's wonderful. Truly wonderful group of people. But so he stayed in the women's jail that used to be converted. It used to be the women's jail back in the old times. And he said he's in the hotel going about his night, about to go to bed, and the phone rang, and it was just a woman hysterically crying down the phone.
Oh,
Dad hung up. Phone rang again. He's answered. Same thing. He's hung up and he's rung downstairs and he said, "Look, someone keeps ringing this phone number." And they said, "We've pulled up." Yeah, and they're like, "Okay, look, we've pulled up the phone." That happens a lot. It's actually, they reckon it's a spirit that plays, that's, of the women that used to come to this jail. And my dad says to this day, he knows that wasn't someone ringing. The voice wasn't a normal.
Something weird
voice.
about it.
Yeah. And my dad he's not one of those people, like you met my dad, he doesn't believe into that kind of stuff. But for someone.
That's why I was asking about analog technology. Because there was a lot of stuff when you go back, like they were using tape machines and the old telephones, random telephone calls. You hear like places, the phone ringing and it's not connected.
Yeah.
It's just not connected. Like, oh, I got a phone call and it was weird. Yeah, but the phones aren't connected. You're like, oh, all right.
You're right, Sean. You're looking a bit.
Oh, no. Look, it's just, I'm all right. It's just, so this podcast brings up a lot of things for me, like phone calls, voices recorded, all that kind of stuff. It just reminds me of a bunch of things. Probably not enough time to go into it, but I definitely feel like there's, there's openings. So this is like an intrinsic sort of part of my upbringing, and so it just sort of like brings some things. And I have to be mindful. I think I've got to be really careful about where I do this. I don't have any of my rocks set up or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just one of those things. But I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to share this information with other people. I'm just sort of slightly tripping out down here a bit. It's just, it's just a new.
Well, let's knock it on the head. But I reckon
it is an interesting choice of area.
Yeah.
Look, I think it'd be interesting to do another one of these and to have some further chats, and maybe even as a team of three, we can bring someone else on and have a chat with some of their stuff and dive into it. That would be fun. And I'm putting something out there to the future. Just in the near future, I think I just see it in my mind's eye. The three of us going into some weird places and just doing a bit of investigation. So that's something that folks maybe ought to look forward to.
I'm kind of keen. I'm coming into your 6 weeks' time. I'll be in your end of the world, and I know there's plenty of interesting stuff to see over that way.
I reckon.
So I'm kind of keen to have a look at that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Central European adventures could be definitely something you guys could do together when you're there. Could strap on a GoPro, go get some spirit boxes, a whole bunch of stuff.
Just watch me lose my shit in a foreign country. Excellent.
Yep. That's always fun.
That's it.
All right. Well, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Susie. It's been so fun having you on. Let's do this again. I think there'd be lots of things you can share with us because it sounds like you've been really into it. I'm sort of an accidental, almost tourist in this world. I don't feel like it's some area, and I know that Josh is really into it, but I can see that you're really into it as well. So I'm sort of a bit of I don't know, sitting in this weird space at the moment, having a good time. So
go douse yourself in holy water.
Pretty much
go save yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to get rid of that rocking chair. If that is the most creepy thing I think I've ever seen in my life, is that I honestly thought you'd put it there on purpose to set the mood.
Well, no, it just belongs to the house, and apparently asbestos that's falling out of the roof over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's obviously
there you go.
That's obviously the room that children got punished and sent down to sit under the house and think about what they've done.
Yeah,
don't be naughty down here. Don't be naughty.
It's not the ideal place. It's not the place I would put my rocking chair. It's a bit odd, but yeah, all right.
It's not the place I would record a podcast from either, but horses for courses.
Well, that's what is the way that cookies crumbled over here. Although I think I have an alternative space for the next time you see us on Hidden in Plain Sight.
Hidden in Plain Sight.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. See ya.
Bye.